Aloha and welcome to E55 Digits Part 3. This is a really simple WOD. It's kind of a cleanup WOD. We just want to make sure that our system is kind of, has a little bit of minimal quality assurance. We're going to come back to testing later for Meteor. And that the README, and we're going to create a README file and deploy it to Meteor.com, which is like fairly trivial to do. And then we'll create a GitHub page. So that's what we're going to do in this one. Before we start, make sure that you understand how to do merging in Git. You can go to this page here and see a little guided tour of how to do that. Also, be sure you know how to create screenshots of your browser window to create documentation. On a Mac, I can do Propeller Shift 4 and then press space and then click. And then all of a sudden on my desktop, I've got a screenshot of that particular window. So you want to have something kind of equally as easy to do when you're, you should figure that out before you start this WOD so that you know how to quickly create screenshots when you need them. Okay, so let's start our timer. And our timer is not around, so I gotta go find it again. Let's see, here we go. Okay, so start. And our master branch should contain the results from adding the contact collection. So if we go to our master branches where we are here, and then we look in our terminal, and we say, is our system the most recent one? So we can kind of check it this way. We're logged in. Sure, we can add this is all the stuff from the last WOD. So in fact, master branch, we have done the merge. Good news. So we're going to create a branch called QA1. So let's go to GitHub Desktop, and we're going to say QA1. Create branch. And then the next thing is to run jshint on our code following the jshint coding standards. So if we go to our digits application, want to go to Preferences, Languages and Frameworks, jshint. We want to make sure it's enabled. We're using the config files. So that's okay. And then you also, under codes, inspections, you're going to find a bunch of inspections which are kind of, a drag. So like JavaScript, you'll notice that I've unchecked that. And similarly, I'm going to uncheck the spelling. And in fact, the Meteor one, it doesn't work well for me. So I guess I'll leave it in there just so we see it. But the point is when we run our inspections, we're only really looking for the jshint level inspections. Okay, so these other ones you can keep in or take out, but from my point of view, only the jshint ones are the ones we're going to worry about. So let's go back here. So we have to update the jshint RC file for the appropriate application global vars. So what that says is if we go to jshint RC, what we can see at the bottom is that we have stuff instead of contact, and then contact. And why are those two things there? It's because in our collections definition, we define two global variables that we're using elsewhere in our application. So we could have the exported thing at the top of this file, but I'm switching to a kind of a different mode here, which is to put it into this global jshint RC file. There's pros and cons to each approach, but I'm showing you that there's this particular option, and it will work fine as well. Okay, so let's see what else we have here. Okay, so we're updating our IntelliJ preferences to check only the jshint. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to say analyze inspect code, and then we want to define a custom scope here. Unfortunately, I did it before, and so you'll press the plus button to add the scope. You'll define a new local scope. I've called it app. Okay, and then inside, the way I defined it, was to go into app and then select just these directories and then click include recursively. Okay, so that's how I got this particular definition. So the only files that I want to inspect are the ones in the client lib, public images, and server seeds directories of my app directory. I don't want to go down and look in .media or anything, and I want to do it recursively, so all the subdirectories is there. Okay, so anyway, that's what I did to make that. I'll press OK, and what I can see here is there's nothing here related to jshint. Unfortunately, I kind of wish there was so I could fix it, but there isn't anything. So we're okay, even though we got those other kinds of errors. Okay, so then we want to create screenshots of the home page, the ads page, and the list page of our application. Add those screenshots and commit them. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to create a separate window just for my application. And then I'm going to hide the bookmarks bar because that's just kind of not that interesting. So that looks like one good. So propeller shift 4, space, tab, and then that's going to be the list. I go to desktop, digits list, and then here's the add contact right here. Propeller shift 4, space to get the whole window, click. And this is going to be digits add. And I think the last one is the home page. This one will be a little smaller. Propeller shift 4, space, click. And then here is digits home. Okay? So the next thing we need to do is actually put that into our documentation directory. And so I'm going to create a new Finder window, and then I'm going to go find my digits application, and then in the doc directory, let's put our 3 digits list, digits home, digits add, not the header, sorry, well, digits list, digits home, digits add. Okay. So those are all in our doc directory, and we'll commit them. So we'll add these. So we've updated our jshint RC. We've updated our digits add. So we'll commit them. What the heck? Adding documentation. Okay. So now we've just made our first commit to our QA1 branch. So we've got a local branch and a master branch, and we're going to click publish. And what that's basically going to do is that's going to mean that now on GitHub we'll also have this branch off of master. So let's go ahead and do that. Because one of the things I'd like you to do for this class is to always replicate, basically keep the same structure at GitHub as you have locally. That way, if things happen to your local environment like your laptop, you can always go to GitHub and recover things, and that turns out to have saves a lot of problem later on. Okay. Okay. So now we want to update the README file following our GitHub coding standards. Okay. So let's see what those coding standards are. And that is an overview of the project, what it accomplishes, screen images of the application, instructions for installation, usage, and credits. Okay, so let's go to the README, and we'll say something like digits implements a sample address book. Usage. Invoke the application for the first time using, and then I'm using these triple braces to do code. meteor minus minus settings dot dot slash config slash settings dot production dot json, actually we got development, I think, dot json. For the first time using whoops. Or if you are in production, you might want to use production.json. Whoops, shoots. The settings files will set up the user accounts. Okay, applications, screen shots. Here is when you first, the home page for the application looks like this. Okay, so we need to now insert a screen image, and on GitHub you put a exclamation point, then 2 angle brackets, and then you're going to have it the braces, and then what we're going to do is actually just go to GitHub and let's find our digits application, and then we want to find our actual screenshots. They're going to be in the QA branch in the doc directory, and here's our digits home, and then we want to get the raw version, which will happen, I guess, after. There we go. So this is the actual URL to that actual PNG, so we can copy that, go over to IntelliJ, and put that in just like that. And then we could say to list all of the documents, log in, and then go to the list, to list all the contacts, sorry, all the contacts, go to the list contacts page. And so again, we'll have a exclamation point, square brackets, and then we'll go back, and then digits list is this one. For reasons that I don't quite understand, we have to wait for this thing to be displayed, and then we can get that. And then we go back here, and then we can say to add a contact, go to the add contacts page. And then once, final time, we're gonna go find that. Doc, add, and then we can do raw, and we get the URL, and then we go here and we cut and paste it in. And let's go see what else. Screen images, instructions for installation, we've done that. Instructions for usage, we've got something like that. Credits, no real other credits. We're not really using any other applications. I guess we could say based on the Meteor application template, if we wanted to. Based upon the Meteor application template. And I guess I'll put a link to that. What the heck? Meteor application template. Here it is. So I get that link, copy, and put it in like that. Okay, so that's That's a fairly reasonable README. So let's see. Okay, insert, make sure the document we're running with the minus setting option. Deploy our application to meteor.com. Call it digits username, where username is your account name. Okay, so what we're going to do here, to do that, we have to make we're going to put this into production. So we want to use a account on meteor.com that will have a username or password different from what we're actually committing to GitHub, because anybody can see John and change me. So let's say that on meteor.com, to log in, you have to be maybe an admin, and it's going to be something like, 147I. That's the password, which is, well, let's just add a few more things. Okay, so that's pretty hard to guess. And I'm making it settings.production.json because in my git ignore, settings.production.json is not going to be committed to GitHub. Okay, so I can create this. This is only on my local computer, this clear text version of it. And so that way I know the password and I have it recorded here, but unless someone gets onto my laptop, they can't actually see it. So it's a somewhat more secure way of doing this. Okay, so now we want to deploy to meteor.com. So we're going to Control-C out of this, and then deploying to meteor.com is just a matter of saying minus settings settings.production.json settings.production.json and then minus deploy, and then we're going to call it digitsjohnson.meteor.com. I think that's right. I think it's just, is it minus deploy or minus deploy? For some reason, let's actually, it's going to slow me down, doggone it, but I've forgotten. Meteor minus deploy. Meteor deploy. Deploying your app. Oh, Meteor just deploy. Okay. And let's hope that we can pass the settings file there. Okay. Meteor deploy minus settings. Doggone it. Okay, let's just fire away and see. That was it. Oh, doggone it. Okay. Meteor .config. Shoots. This wasn't a perfect WAD. In terms of time, because I made those mistakes, but oh well. Okay, so now it says now serving at HTTP. So let's copy that, go here, and voila. Okay, so we want to sign in, and now our username we know is capital admin, and then this is our account, so admin, and then paste that in, sign in, and there we are, working like a charm. Very nice. Okay, so we've deployed that. Commit your changes to GitHub, make sure your changes are there. So let's see, we've got our changes to, improve README, commit to QA1, and then sync. And then we want to merge, well, we want to actually see that our changes are there. Pretty sure they're there. So now what we want to do is actually we want to merge our changes into master. So in order to do that, we can go back to master, compare, collection 1. So we see our master, it's gone out to here, collection 1, and then we want to say branch, merge into master. We're going to select, it was QA1. Merge from QA1, merge into master. Okay, and now we can sync those changes that we have locally with GitHub. And now if we go to GitHub, we can see that we've merged branch QA1, and there is in the master branch, which is what I'm illustrating now, are my changes. Okay, so that's good. Last thing is to create a GitHub page to document our application. So we'll go here, we'll go to settings, we will go to automatic page generator, load the README file, continue to layouts. Let's pick Cayman, that's kind of a nice one. Take a look at it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, and we'll publish the page. So that's 2143. We'll call this a 22-minute WAD. Looks pretty good, and now you've deployed an application to meteor.com, done the README file, looking pretty good. Hope you enjoyed it.